What's cooking, everybody? It's Thor, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to fully upgrade your freighter in No Man's Sky. We will be going over some basics, how to expand your freighter's inventory slots, and how to unlock all the different tech and S-Class upgrades, as well as taking a closer look at the adjacency bonuses for the best possible results. And so without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So first off, you will of course need a freighter. If you haven't got one already, I would advise to watch this video first, link in the description down below, to find out how to receive an S-Class capital freighter for free and return to this video afterwards. On the bridge of your freighter, you will find an upgrade control terminal. Interact with it to be able to purchase upgrades in exchange for salvaged frigate modules. More on this later. On the left there are various frigate consumables, and on the right you'll find unlockable technology for your freighter. If you go to the next page, you'll find that you can also buy different colors to customize your freighter's appearance. They cost 5000 nanites per color pack and include a bright and a dark swatch of each color. Under the option to purchase upgrades, you'll see the option to customize your freighter's appearance. Here you can change the color in 3 categories: primary, secondary, which should be primary in my opinion, and accents. This doesn't show in the preview, but changes the color of markings found on various pieces of the freighter. Lastly, you'll have the option to reset your freighter base to the default design, removing all you've added to it in terms of rooms and corridors. The console on the right lets you open the galaxy map and enable you to warp into a new system. To fully fuel the freighter's hyperdrive, you'll need 5 warp fuel cells or a warp hypercore, just like with your starship. One of the main purposes of having a freighter is to set up and control your own frigate fleet. You can inspect your fleet at the final console. Here you'll see their class, name, role and stats. Select one to get a detailed overview of their skills, statistics, fuel consumption per light years, and the remaining amount of successful encounters needed for them to level up. You'll also see the option to dismiss the freighter to remove it from your fleet. To send out a frigate on a mission, you'll want to speak with a navigator aboard the bridge. Here you'll see 5 different missions at any given time. You'll see the category of the mission, how long it takes, the difficulty, as well as the distance. Select one to start the mission. You can assign up to 5 frigates per mission. Once you do so, you'll see in the bottom right corner what your fleet rating is in comparison to the mission and the amount of fuel required. Fuel can easily be crafted in amounts of 200, 100 or 50 tons by combining tritium with dihydrogen. You can check up on the frigates during their mission via the command room. Occasionally, you can be contacted by a frigate that they're damaged while on a mission. Choosing not to recall them can result in destruction of the frigate. Just make sure your fleet rating is well above the mission difficulty to minimize this from happening. To be able to start multiple missions at the same time, you'll need multiple command rooms. The rule is 1 room per mission and you can have a total of 30 frigates. To expand your frigate fleet, just approach your freighter in any system. You'll see that some frigates around it have a green symbol next to them. Open up your communicator to see their stats. You'll also see how many successful encounters are needed for them to level up, as well as their speciality. If you hired all frigates or want better classes, you can just fly up to the space station and get out of your starship to create an autosave. Reload it to see that new frigates are available to buy in that system. The design of the frigate is tied to its role, but the color and which ones are available are linked to the system. So you can easily have a matching fleet by reloading once you found one that you like. Remember that wealthier systems have better chances of spawning better classes. Once the mission is over, you can debrief the frigates in the command room to receive several rewards. Anything from units to materials and curiosities. This is also one of the main ways to receive salvaged frigate modules, needed to be able to purchase the technology mentioned earlier. Additionally, you could also receive some by shooting cargo pods from system freighters. Do be careful, as you will receive a 1-star wanted level and a decrease of your standing with the system's dominating faction. You can also find salvaged frigate modules aboard derelict freighters as random loot from crates, as well as from crash freighters and sometimes from Nexus missions. You will need a total of 5 salvaged frigate modules to unlock all the consumable frigate modules on the left and another 53 modules to be able to unlock all the technology on the right for your freighter. I will go over the details of all the tech when installing it later. Let's have a quick look into the consumables for your frigates. The fuel oxidizer costs 2 quad servos and 50 gold to craft and reduces the expedition's duration. The explosive drones costs 1 walker brain and 50 gold to craft, adds a boost to the expedition's combat stats. The mind control device costs 1 solar mirror and 50 gold to craft, adds a boost to the trading stat for an expedition. Mineral compression costs 1 hydraulic wiring and 50 gold and adds a boost to the industrial capabilities of an expedition. And finally, the holographic analyzer costs 1 quantum computer and 50 gold to craft, adds a boost to the exploration capabilities of the expedition. To be able to use one of these consumables on one of your frigate's expeditions, simply add them in the bottom left corner. You can add up to 3 per expedition and it will show you what effect they'll have on said expedition. So to be able to expand your freighter's inventory slots and to receive upgrade modules, you will have to complete derelict freighters. Quite a few actually. So if you want to know the best way to go about them, I would suggest to check out my guide on derelict freighters, which I'll link down below. I will go over it briefly though. Best way to summon a derelict freighter is to go to the scrap dealer aboard any space station and select acquire coordinates. This will give you an emergency broadcast receiver which you can tune to the signal of a derelict freighter. Do so and pulse with your starship until you get the message that a broadcast is received. Exit the pulse and fly towards the derelict freighter. While I'm doing so, I want to ask you to please leave a like and or a comment if you found this video helpful in any way, and don't forget to subscribe to be informed on all things No Man's Sky, from beginner's guides to amazing starships and anything in between. Land on the derelict freighter, get out of your ship and walk to the entrance. Once you are on the derelict freighter, certain functions won't work and you can encounter threats. Make sure to bring items for life support and enough ammunition. Furthermore, you want to have a lot of empty slots as you'll be receiving lots of valuables and resources. I'll leave coordinates on screen to the derelict freighter I used to fully max my freighter. It was the easiest and fastest one I could find. It has 10 rooms with only a few of these green jellyfishes and a guaranteed S-Class upgrade module for your freighter. To receive the S-Class module, simply select Fabricate Technology Upgrade at the console in the final room to receive a random S-Class upgrade for your freighter. If you want to receive a storage upgrade module for your freighter, simply select Fabricate Freighter Bulkhead to receive 1 cargo bulkhead. To use these cargo bulkheads to add more inventory space, walk up to the upgrade control aboard your freighter and select Add Additional Storage. Exchange the cargo bulkheads for extra slots in your general and technology inventory. Interact with the upgrade control terminal again should it kick you out, to expand it to reach the maximum of 48 general and 24 technology slots. So now that you know how to get extra storage, technology and upgrades for your freighter, it's time to have a look at the best placement of your tech and upgrades for a maximum adjacency bonuses. I'll be showing you 2 setups. The first is a balanced setup focused on hyperdrive range and the frigate mission speed and fuel consumption, utilizing only the technology inventory for maximum amount of storage on your freighter. For this you want to move the freighter hyperdrive to the middle slot of the bottom row. Install the warp core resonator in the top right corner to receive a 200 light year boost to your hyperdrive for the cost of 1 quantum computer, 250 cadmium and 4 antimatter housings. Add the amplified warp shielding right here for 2 quantum computers, 1 warp hypercore and 250 cadmium for a 50 light year boost and the ability to warp into red star systems. Right above it, add the chromatic warp shielding for 2 solar mirrors, 1 warp hypercore and 250 emerald for another 50 light years and the ability to warp into green systems. Add the plasmatic warp injector next to the hyperdrive for 1 solar mirror, 250 emerald and 5 antimatter housings for 300 more light years to the hyperdrive range. In the bottom right, place the temporal warp computer at the cost of 2 magnetic resonators, 1 warp hypercore and 250 indium to be able to warp into blue systems and receive another 50 light years. And finally, place the reality D-threader in the middle for 1 magnetic resonator, 250 indium and 6 antimatter housing for an 800 light year increase to your freighter's hyperdrive. You want to leave these 3 slots open for your hyperdrive upgrade modules. Lastly, I would advise to place the matter beam in the middle of the top row for 3 magnetic resonators, 5 antimatter and 10 wiring loom. This will enable you to send items back and forth between your inventory and your freighter when summoned in the system. You could skip this if you don't mind flying and add another frigate upgrade in its place. So, onto the upgrade modules. To fully max out this setup you want to have 3 salvage fleet fuel units, 3 salvage fleet beacons, 1 salvage fleet mining unit, salvage fleet trade unit, salvage fleet exploration unit, 1 salvage fleet combat unit and 3 salvage hyperdrive upgrades. You want to place the salvage hyperdrive upgrades in the empty spaces in between your hyperdrive technology. These will add a maximum of 250 light years apiece. Place the 3 salvage fleet fuel units in the top row for a maximum of 20% fuel efficiency per upgrade for your frigates expeditions. Add the 3 salvage fleet beacons just below for 15% increase per upgrade module in expedition speed. Place the salvage fleet mining unit next to the hyperdrive for 15% increase in expedition mining ability. Add the salvage fleet trade unit above the hyperdrive for 15% expedition trade ability. Put the salvage fleet exploration unit right here for 15% expedition scientific ability. And lastly, place the salvage fleet combat unit for a 15% increase in your expedition defenses. So with everything installed, your technology inventory should be totally filled and you should have a hyperdrive range of almost 5000 light years, which is pretty good, but if you want to go over that 6000 light year mark, you do want to have a double setup. This means to utilize space in your general inventory for upgrade modules so that you can double the maximum amount of 3 per type. To do this, you first want to move some technology from your tech slots to your general inventory. Move the warp core resonator to the top left corner. Add the plasmatic warp injector next to it. And move the chromatic warp shielding next to that. Take the reality D-threader and place it in the middle just below. Move the amplified warp shielding to the left on the 3rd row. And finally, move the main freighter hyperdrive 1 slot apart from it. If you have the matter beam installed, go ahead and also move it to your general inventory. It doesn't really matter where you put it, just make sure you leave the top 3 rows open for upgrades. Next, for the optimized adjacency bonus in your technology slots, you want to move the fuel units here, the trade units 1 below, the beacons just below the fuel units, and the hyperdrive units in the top left corner like so. Then move the scientific and the combat unit to the top right. And finally, add the industrial unit to the bottom left corner. Your freighter's inventory should look like this. Now, to fill up the technology inventory with upgrades, you'll need 2 combat, 2 exploration, 2 trade and 1 extra mining unit. You just want to go ahead and fill up the empty spaces with the corresponding upgrade modules like so. For the general inventory, you want another 3 upgrade modules of every category, including of course the hyperdrive. Install those in the empty slots around the hyperdrive. As you can tell, this brought my range to well over 6000 light years. The rest of the frigate modules you want to install next to each other, mostly in horizontal lines and in the following order. I've done a lot of swapping around, but this exact setup gave me the best results. And finally, add the fleet mining units in a straight line on the right. This will leave you with 20 empty slots, a fleet coordination score of 109 and an impressive warp range of about 6390, depending on how good your hyperdrive upgrades are. Just to give you an impression of how far you can really go on one warp. I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this video. This has really been my most ambitious one ever since I started YouTube exactly 1 year ago today. I am really honored to have over 1500 subscribers already and want to thank you all for your continuous support and amazing comments. I really couldn't have done it without you and hopefully to many more. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. If you liked it, make sure to leave a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below. If you really did, please subscribe. And if not, well, I hope I get to convince you in the next video.